Initiating a project. Project initiation is the formal recognition that a new project or the next phase in an existing project should begin, and resources should be committed to the project. A project may come about as a result of a need, demand, opportunity, or problem. Determine needs and demands. It is often difficult to provide strong justification for projects, but everyone agrees they have a high value. It is better to measure gold roughly than to count pennies precisely. These important criteria for projects are as follows. There is a need for the project, there are funds available, and there is a strong will to make the project succeed. Needs and demands represent opportunities, business requirements, or problems that need to be solved. Management must decide how to respond to these needs and demands. According to the PMBOK, projects come about as a result of one of the following 7 needs or demands. Market demand, strategic opportunity or business need, customer request, technological advance, legal requirement, ecological impact, and social need. Our second topic is feasibility studies. Before starting a project, a feasibility study is conducted to determine whether the project is viable or not. It may be conducted as a separate project, a sub-project, or as the first phase of a project. Feasibility studies should not be conducted by the same people who will work on the project. Project selection methods. It helps organizations to decide among alternative projects and determine the tangible benefits to the company of choosing or not choosing a project. Project selection methods are also used to evaluate and choose between alternative ways to implement the project. Projects are usually selected on the basis of market share, financial benefits, return on investment, customer loyalty, and public perceptions. There are generally 2 categories of selection methods: mathematical models, which are also known as constrained optimization methods, and benefit measurement methods, or also called decision models. Mathematical models. They are also known as constrained optimization methods, and they use linear, dynamic, integer, nonlinear, and/or multi-objective programming in the form of algorithms. Mathematical models require an engineering, statistical, or mathematical background to fully understand. They are complicated mathematical formulas and algorithms that are beyond the scope of this course. Organizations considering undertaking projects of enormous complexity might use mathematical modeling techniques to make decisions regarding these projects. The vast majority of project selection techniques use the benefit measurement methods. Benefit measurement methods. They employ various forms of analysis and comparative approaches to make project decisions. These methods include comparative approaches, such as cost-benefit analysis, scoring models, and benefit contribution methods that include various cash flow techniques and economic models. Developing project charter. It is the very first piece of document for a project and a written acknowledgement that the project exists. It formally authorizes a project or phase and documents the initial requirements that satisfy stakeholders' needs and expectations. It establishes a partnership between the performing organization and the requesting organization, or customer in the case of external projects. A project manager is identified and assigned as early in the project as is feasible, preferably while the project charter is being developed, and always prior to the start of planning. Let's see how project charter is created. The input to developing the project charter comes from the origin of the project. The possible input items to develop a project charter are as follows: project statement of work, business case, contract, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. You take the available input and apply the relevant tools and techniques to develop the project charter. The most important tool used in developing the project charter is the expert judgment. Output of the Develop Project Charter process is a formal document, which is called the Project Charter. Next, we will understand each of the following components mentioned under Input, Tools and Techniques, and Output. Tools and techniques for developing the Project Charter process. Expert judgment is the only tool and technique in this process. The concept behind expert judgment is to rely on individuals or groups of people who have training, specialized knowledge, or skills in the areas which you are assessing. These folks might be stakeholders, consultants, subject matter experts, industry or other experts, project management office or technical professional organizations. The Project Charter documents the business needs and current customer requirements by addressing the following factors. Project purpose or justification. It includes the purpose of the project and the business case for the project. High-level project description. It includes the business needs that the project addresses. High-level project requirements. It is based on the needs of the customer, the sponsor, and other stakeholders. Measurable project objectives. It is derived from the purpose section. High-level risks. They are identified during the project planning. Summary milestone schedule. It is a kind of high-level schedule. Budget summary. It is the summary of project cost estimate with some timeline. Project approval requirements. They include the name and responsibility of the person or committee that will approve and accept the project when it is finished. Assigned project manager. It specifies the authority level of the project manager. And project sponsor. It includes the name and authority level of the project sponsor who authorized the project charter. The inputs of identifying stakeholders process are as follows. Project Charter. It provides information about internal and external parties related to the project and affected by the result or the execution of the project. For example, project sponsors, customers, team members, groups, and departments participating in the project. Procurement documents. If a project is the result of a procurement activity or is based on an established contract, the parties in that contract are key project stakeholders. Other relevant parties, such as suppliers, should also be considered as part of the project stakeholders list. Enterprise environmental factors. It includes all policies, practices, procedures, and legislation that exist, both inside and outside of the organization. These factors include company culture, organizational structure, and governmental or industry standards. Organizational process assets. These are the range of templates, contracts, registers, assessment tools, and organization's knowledge base, which most organizations have developed to assist in the management of the project. Tools and techniques of the Identify Stakeholders process. There are two main tools that are used to help identify stakeholders. The first is the stakeholder analysis, and the second is expert judgment. Stakeholder analysis. It is the technique of systematically gathering and analyzing qualitative and quantitative information to determine whose interests should be taken into account. It defines the interest, expectations, and influence of stakeholders and relate them to the purpose of the project. Stakeholder management strategy. This is the documented approach which is used to minimize negative impacts or influences that stakeholders may have throughout the life of the project. The elements that should be included in the stakeholder management strategy are as follows. Name of key stakeholders who could have a significant impact on the project. Stakeholders' anticipated level of participation. Stakeholder groups. Assessment of impact. And potential strategies for gaining support.